Hello. Given that today is New Year's Eve, I thought I would pop on and chat a little bit about New Year's resolutions. I know that some of you are probably planning New Year's resolutions. Maybe you've had New Year's resolutions in the past that have failed and you've kind of given up on the idea of New Year's resolutions. Wherever you're sitting with resolutions, this is a great chance to re-look at, if you were planning on making a resolution, how to make one that's going to be more successful, maybe than experiences you've had in the past. And if you've given up on New Year's resolutions, this is a chance to maybe just take a look at that from a different perspective. And I don't know, maybe make a resolution in a bit of a different way. And so first thing that I wanted to talk about is really like, what is a resolution and how is that different from goal setting? And the big difference between a resolution and a goal is a resolution is a firm decision to do something or not do something. And that's some of this popularity of it around the new year is this like new start. I'm going to do this differently from now on. Whereas a goal is something that you're creating to put your effort towards. So if you want to do something, that might be your goal, and then you're working towards that. And there's all these things about making good goals, which we could talk about, but that is not, that's not the focus of this talk. We're going to talk about actually those resolutions, those firm decisions. And this is a lot of times where things can go a little bit awry. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this new thing. And so there are three things that I think if you're going to make a resolve or a decision to do something that you really need to incorporate in order to make this successful. So the first thing is that your resolution really needs to come from a place of love rather than a place of shame. And what I mean by this is it doesn't really matter what your resolution is, whether it's to quit smoking, whether it's to exercise more. If you're making that commitment from a place of love for yourself, that is an entirely different energy to bring to your resolution than if you're making that resolution because you feel like you're not good enough or you have shame about that behavior that you're looking to change. And so trying to think of something that you love to do or that you love about yourself and work on accentuating that. For example, let's say you're looking to make an exercise resolution. You probably want to pick something that you love to do, that lifts you up, that brings you lots of joy. And that's going to be a much more successful New Year's resolution than if you're going for something because you feel like you have to, because if you don't, you are not valuable, or some other story that you're telling yourself. And so and same with something like quitting smoking. If you're deciding to quit smoking and you're like, well, because smoking's disgusting, that's not from a place of compassion. If you're making a New Year's resolution about quitting smoking and you're saying, well, I'm going to do this because I've got because I love my lungs and I want to be able to breathe clearer and I want that for my family and I want to have more energy. That mindset shift, that where is this coming from, can make a big difference. And so rather than saying, I suck at something or, this is crappy, think about, I deserve this, or my family deserves this, or this is going to be really good for me, and focus from that perspective. The second thing that I think every New Year's resolution needs to have come in with it is grace. Change isn't perfect. And it takes some grace to acknowledge that what you're trying to achieve probably isn't going to happen overnight. And that doesn't mean you can't make a resolution. It doesn't mean you can't make a firm decision to say, look, I'm not going to do this anymore, or I am going to do this from now on. But have some grace around what's going to happen when you fail, because that is the truth is that most New Year's resolutions are not kept to 100%. So how do you make something ride all the way through 2019 is you give yourself a little grace and you plan that this maybe doesn't go perfectly from day one. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't make a resolution. It just means you shouldn't expect perfection from yourself. Put some expectations on yourself. Expect some effort. Expect some endurance with this, but don't expect perfection. And the third thing that I want to talk about in terms of resolution that I think makes them a lot more successful is understanding. And there's two pieces of this. One is understanding the change you're trying to make, and the other is understanding yourself. And I see this in a lot of like missed goals and missed resolutions. It's just a lack of knowledge. If you don't know how to achieve what you were trying to achieve, then it's a lot more likely that you're going to fail. And it sounds super obvious, but if you haven't done something before, you might not know how to do it. And so you might want to do research and understand methods of doing it, and you may want help. You may want to find someone that's done what you're trying to do in order to help you understand how to get there. And that's understanding what that goal or resolution is, and also understanding how reasonable that is. You know, I see this sometimes with exercise goals, see it all the time with weight loss resolutions, that there's just a lack of understanding as to like what'll happen to someone who's never exercised if they try and run 10K the first day. Like, it's not going to go well. It's going to be painful. You're not going to be able to do it the next day. And so if your resolution is that you're going to be a runner and you want to run, you know, you want to run a marathon or you want to run a half marathon or whatever it is that you want to do, it's not successful to not know the steps it takes to get there. You know, you need to start small, and you probably don't actually want to exercise every day. You want to work up to that. And those sort of understanding pieces can make a big difference in the success of a goal or not. And then the other piece around understanding that I alluded to a little bit earlier is understanding yourself. And this part I think gets overlooked a lot. You think, oh, it's a new year, I'm gonna do things differently. And sometimes when we look at that, we think about maybe who we wanna be, or we think of the way someone else does something, and we don't really take the time to think about who we are and what our unique skills and gifts are and what our challenges are. And when you set a resolution and you take the time to think about what that's going to mean for you and where you make mistakes, where your hangups are, and where your strengths are, you can tailor your success in a way that if you don't know where you're likely to slip up or how to keep yourself going, you just can't do that. You'll be surprised by your own behavior because you don't understand why you do things. And so getting to know yourself in making a resolution, I think is a really overlooked part of understanding. And so those are my 3 secrets for New Year's resolutions. Build New Year's resolutions, build them from a place of love, build them from a place of understanding, and include a little bit of grace. And so I would love to know what your New Year's resolutions are. Mine is to, I want to do yoga every day. Right now I'm at about 3 days a week, most weeks. And so I'm just looking to, expand that. And I'm not expecting that I'm going to do this the first week of January, but I'm hoping that when we get to December next year, I'm going to be in a place where I am doing that every day, because I know how great that is for my mood, and how great that is for my energy and my productivity and my focus, and all kinds of things are better in my life when I do more of that. And so that's where that goal came from. And so I'd love to know your goals. Leave them in the comments, and have a happy new year.